Well, hello and welcome. This is Miss Heard with Miss Heard Song Lyrics Podcast. We're at Season 5, Episode 236. We're doing our first ever Seals and Crofts Miss Heard. The Miss Heard lyric is, down on you, sure do shine. And the correct lyrics is, diamond girl, you sure do shine. For years, I thought Seals and Crofts was singing Down on You until my friend Eric at one karaoke night sang it, and then I saw it flash on the karaoke screen. It's Diamond Girl, also the name of the song. So that was a big aha. And I haven't ever done a misheard for Seals and Crofts, and let me tell you, it's jam-packed with a lot of connections. So let's start. So Diamond Girl is a song by American soft rock, or I like to call it affectionately yacht rock duo, Seals and Crofts, and released as a single back in 1973, so almost, 51 years ago. It is the title track of their fifth studio album, also called Diamond Girl. And like their previous top hit, Summer Breeze, Diamond Girl has also reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 4 on the Adult Contemporary chart. So let me just touch on soft rock. I just wanted to look it up, and it's also known as light rock. And it says here, and on the web, it says it's a form of rock music that originated in the late 1960s in Southern Cal and the UK, which smoothed over the edges of singer-songwriter and pop rock, relying on a simple, melodic songs with big, lush productions. Soft rock was definitely around on the radio throughout the 1970s and eventually changed to a form of synthesized music of adult contemporary in the 1980s. So that's what soft rock is, and I love it. Let's talk about the album first, a little bit about Seals and Crofts, and then, about how they began as a group and who they're connected with. That's what blew me away. So the album is called Diamond Girl as well. Like I said earlier, it's the 5th studio album by Seals and Crofts and released in 1973 on Warner Brothers Records. Now the album contained many different musical styles and themes. One of them is Nine Houses is one of 2 intimate religious songs which the band would often reserve for their concert appearances. And then Ruby Jean and Billy Lee is another written for their spouses. Ruby Jean Anderson for Seals' spouse, and Billy Lee Day for Crofts' spouse. Oh, that was sweet. And the first verse is sung by Seals and the second by Crofts, with both singing the chorus. Then their children, Lua Crofts and Joshua Seals, are mentioned in the chorus. That is a family affair, if one can do that in all their songs. So back to Diamond Girl, peaked number 4 on the U.S. album charts. Its title track, which is the song we're talking about, is Diamond Girl, which is not what I misheard as Down on You. Reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart, like I said, and in that summer, and then also number 13 in Canada. So the Canucks love this song too. And then they had a follow-up single called We May Never Pass This Way Again, and that hit number 21 position later that year, number 33 in Canada. So let's talk about Seals and Crofts, because such an interesting name and who they are. So like I said, they're an American soft rock duo. The one singer is James Eugene Seals, born October 17, 1942. And the other part of the duo is Daryl George Dash Crofts, born August 14, 1940. They're best known, like I said earlier, for their 1972 hit Summer Breeze. This one we're talking about today, 1973, Diamond Girl. 1976, Get Closer, which also peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100. They're also very publicly outspoken advocates for a specific religion. I'll go into that in a bit. They actually disbanded in 1980, and they reunited briefly in 91 and 92, and again in 2004, so 20 years ago. And that's when they released their final album called Traces. What I didn't know, did you know this? Maybe you did, that Seals, James Eugene Seals, has a younger brother. That brother is also a chart-singing singer-songwriter called England Dan Seals, later performed public together as Seals and Seals Together. But England Dan Seals is Jim Seals' younger brother, also very successful recording artist, and he's part of another soft rock duo, England Dan and John Ford Coley. All these names and all the middle names. So England Dan is Seals' younger brother, and John Ford Coley, and later as a country music artist. So that's the first Did You Know. And then in the early days, Jim Seals and Dash Crofts, they were actually born in Texas. Seals in Sydney, Texas in 1942, and Crofts in Cisco in 1940. They first met when Crofts was a drummer for a local band, and then later they joined a rockabilly band called Dean Beard and the Crew Cats, I love it, in which he played sax. Later on, Crofts joined Seals in the band with Beard. They moved to LA to join the Champs. Does that ring any bells? Yes, that's the group that had a #1 hit in 1958 with their song, and it's a lot of folks that don't like to sing karaoke. If they had to sing karaoke, they sing the song Tequila, because all I have to sing is Tequila. They were part of that band. And then Seals also spent time during 1959 in the touring band of Eddie Cochran. So these guys are making their way, in the background. Then Seals had a song that's called It's Never Too Late, recorded by beautiful Brenda Lee in 1961, was featured on the B-side of her U.S. Billboard #6 single, You Can Depend on Me. It's Never Too Late nevertheless reached number 101 on Billboard and number 100 on Cashbox, week ending April 8th in 1961. So he's starting to get his work out there in its own right. In the UK, the sides were switched when the single was released, but the single failed to make the UK singles. At that time, only a top 50 listing. So not so much in the UK, but still did well stateside. Then here's another word connection. In 1963, Seals, Crofts, and a little name, maybe you heard of, called Glen Campbell, and Jerry Cole left the Champs. So they're all part of that Tequila song band to form their own band called the Glen Campbell and the GCs, which played at the Crossbow in Van Nuys, California. It only lasted a couple of years before everyone went on their separate ways. Crofts returned back to his hometown in Texas, and Seals joined a band named the Dawnbreakers. Why is the significance of the title of this band? It's actually a reference of the Dawn hyphenated Breakers. It's a book about the beginnings of their Bahá'í Faith. That's a big religion they're both into. Crofts eventually returned to California to team up with Seals again in the Dawnbreakers, and both of them become members of this Bahá'í Faith. So I had to look up, what is this? They are a long time what they call followers of this Bahá'í Faith. The two began to include references to and passages from Bahá'í scripture in their songwriting. When they appeared in concert, they often stayed on stage after the performance to talk about the faith. Interesting. While local Baha'is pass out literature to anyone interested. The Bahá'í Faith is a religion founded in the 19th century that teaches the essential worth of all religions, so very inclusive, and the unity of all people. It was actually established by, I'm going to butcher this name, Baha'u'llah. It's initially developed in Kahar, Iran, and parts of the Middle East, where it was facing ongoing persecution since its inception. It's interesting that they both really gravitated toward that. So supposedly the religion is estimated at 5 to 8 million followers, known as Baha'is, and they're spread across, of course, all over the world in countries and territories. So after they had a failure with the Dawnbreakers, the two decided to pay, let's try to see if we can just be a duo, with Seals on guitar, saxophone, and violin, and Crofts on guitar and mandolin. They then signed a contract with their record division of TA, or Talent Associates, in 1969 and released 2 LPs, which only the second reached Billboard 200 chart, peaking at number 122 in October 1970. Then Crofts married his fellow Dawnbreaker Billy Lee Day in 1969, and Seals married Ruby Jean Anderson in 1970. That's when I mentioned earlier they added them in their song reference. And the pair signed a new contract with now Warner Brothers Records in August of 1971. Their first album with our new label was called Year of Sunday, and it peaked 133 in the U.S. Their second Warner Brothers album, this is the one we all know about, Summer Breeze, was a hit, peaking at number 7 in 1972. The title cut was released as a single. We know it as Summer Breeze, and it peaked at number 4 in the adult contemporary chart and number 6 in the pop chart. The song Hummingbird was also the second single released from the album, reaching the number 12 AC and number adult chart, as they say AC, and number 20 in the pop chart. The album itself has been certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA for sales of 2 million copies in the U.S. That's impressive. And then in 1973, they followed up with, under their Warner Brothers label, Diamond Girl, which is, of course, the song we're talking about today. This album certified gold for sales of 500,000 copies in the U.S., and the Diamond Girl song reached number 6 in the U.S. chart in July of 1973. So it did quite well. Here's a big did you know. I did not know this. So because of their faith, with this Baha'i faith, they did a controversial album called Unborn Child, followed in 1974. It was written shortly after Roe versus Wade. And Seals and Crofts expressed their anti-abortion position in the title song, which created a huge dilemma for radio stations. I can only imagine. Some stations banned it while others added it to rotation. The album still went gold despite the controversy and the lack of a top 40 hit. So interesting. Now the sad thing is, are they still with us? No. Seals had a stroke in 2017. Apparently a long illness. He died at his home in Nashville, Tennessee on June 6, 2022. So about 2 years ago, as I'm filming or editing and creating this podcast today at age 79. So this year probably would have been 81 or so. But Crofts is still with us. So again, just a reminder that this song is not about down on you, you sure do shine. It's Diamond Girl. Makes more sense. If you have any crazy suggestions, misheard song lyrics, just send it to any of our social media sites like Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, or just send me an email at misheard, that's MISSHEARD, songs@gmail.com. Till then, keep singing those songs wrong. Bye.